You guys don't understand, I had to re-record this. I was halfway through and then it was cut off right here. So it looked like I wasn't wearing a top and now I have to redo this. Hi everyone, if you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. Today's video is going to be a little different than the two that I posted recently. I'm going to be the only one in this video. Main character energy. Ugh. It was my birthday recently, like a month ago. I turned 25. Please just... So like, I don't want to talk about it. And so I decided that I want to do a video of 25 books that raised me, because I have been a reader since very young. And I also saw someone else do it on TikTok, but I wanted to do it in a long format because I talk a lot and I don't know how to shut up, and I really love these books. Well, most of them. They have like a special place in my heart because I literally grew up reading these books. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you know me in real life and you're not subscribed, why are you not subscribed? Like this video, comment down below, subscribe, do all of that stuff, and yeah, enjoy. Shot through my chest. I cried like a baby. I'm not gonna read the fucking rest. That one Justin Timberlake movie. Like, I needed therapy. I don't know how to shut up. They are brother and sister. I was growing up in the 2000s and the 2010s. So if you think there's not gonna be at least one dystopian novel in this, you are so wrong. Because we're gonna start with a bang. The Hunger Games. I remember reading this in high school. My friend and I decided that we are going to do a buddy read. Like, halfway through Catching Fire, a debate started in our group. And you know, we were teenagers, our hormones were all over the place, so the debate wasn't about what like political things or what the model of the story was. No, it was about who was better for Katniss. What is his name? Peter or Gale? So we weren't fully grasping what Suzanne was trying to tell us. It was one morning, we were standing in front of the school's office debating, and it was like 7:40 a.m. in the morning, and my friend spoiled the whole book for me. Like, she spoiled the last book, telling me who she ended up with. Now obviously I was happy with who she ended up with, but I feel like that was a memory that stays with me and it's vivid in my mind because it's one of the first books that was ever spoiled for me, and it's just one of those weird things that stay with you for some reason. And obviously my reason being that this was the first book that was ever spoiled for me. Now the next book, I wish someone had spoiled for me. Okay. So picture this, 13-year-old Tatum. Long hair. Okay. She was doing some really bad shit to this hair. God. Rounded cheeks. Now I was fat. I was like, I was chubby. I was not missing any meals. I was well taken care of. So 13-year-old me goes to the library with my parents, right? And I feel like someone recommended this book to me because I went and I took this book, took it off the shelf and I was like, yes, City of Bones. Yeah, let's take this home. And I had no prior knowledge to Cassandra Clare or City of Bones. I knew nothing about it. And I went home and I read it. So when I read City of Bones, City of Glass was already out, and if you know, you know. So I read the first book, and I refused to read the series because I was like, they are brother and sister. And I thought that for years. I was only spoiled for it like recently, as like 2019, 2020. 10 years after the original release date. Trauma. Speaking of trauma. Sometimes I wonder like what the hell was I reading when I was a teenager? Because why is this on the list? This one and the next one, I wonder. I'm like, poor me. And I fully blame my sisters for this one and the next one. They were reading it around that time, and they were reading it. So I don't have to say much about Twilight, except that I always thought that we needed a different POV because Bella was so bland. Then we got Jacob, and I was like, holy shit, no, give me back Bella. And now we've got Edward, and I'm like, just throw the book away, please. Throw the book away. As a 25-year-old, I am Team Charlie. The gun scene, like, that is rent-free. Speaking of trauma, we can't talk about Twilight and not talk about 50 Shades of Grey, because 50 Shades of Grey is Twilight fanfiction, and you can kind of tell because it's really written badly. So this book was just lying around the house, and me as a curious person, I was like, you know what, I'm just and read it, and evidently I enjoyed it because I read all of the books. So people, you seriously need to be monitoring what your children are reading, because when I tell you, this book fucked me up before Wattpad even got a hold of me. That's saying a lot. Maybe I'll give my sisters grace because they were reading it around the time that the movies came out, but I mean, come on, guys. Did you not see me reading this book? Oh wait, actually maybe I was reading it like when I realized what it was, I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be reading this, and then I would just read it when they weren't around. Oops. The next 4 books I read in primary school, and I'm going to talk about 2 in one because they're by the same author. These are the 2 books. Wait. It is The Witches and George's Marvelous Medicine. Do you see how tiny George's Marvelous Medicine is? I read it recently. It was actually kind of fun. And then The Witches. So both of these books were read to me by my English teacher, who I don't think I can ever thank enough. I've always been around books. I've always been curious about books, but I feel like her reading these books to us once a week really just ignited something in me, and I will never be able to thank her enough. Because I remember just sitting in class and was like, couldn't wait for the next chapter and like what was gonna happen, and it was just really fun to read. Because like, imagine, like, how old was I was in like grade 5, so 11, I don't know, and we were reading this and it's like, imagine doing all of this and then that happens to your grandma. That's actually hilarious. And so because of that teacher, I realized that the school had a library, and I picked up, which is a staple of the 2000s and the 2010s, A Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I don't need to say much on this. Also, I can't say much on this because I don't even remember what happened in this book. Yammer, sorry, I don't know. Actually, I don't think I got this from the school library. I don't know if I got it from the local library or not. The next book I definitely got from the school library. It was Stay in the Basement. It's a Goosebumps book, the second book of the Goosebumps series. This is the oldest book on this list, and it's iconic. I don't know why I picked it up. This is different to any of the other books that I've ever read, just because I think it's like kind of a thriller. I don't read thrillers. I remember taking this book home, reading it in one sitting, and being scared shitless. Now me, as a 25-year-old, am still scared shitless. I don't read shit like this. I don't watch it. Keep it to yourself. I don't read thrillers. I don't read horrors. Keep it to yourself. Get it away from you. All I can remember is that like the father was always in the basement, and the son, daughter, the child was sus on them. They finally got to the basement, and then the father was like this blonde creature person, and I was scared. He wasn't a very beautiful creature. Which is into the next one. So let's talk about beautiful creatures. Let's talk about beautiful creatures. This movie came out in 2013, and me, I was like 14 years old at that time, so you know the hormones, those hormones were crazy. I don't want to ever go back to that. I pity anyone that's currently going through puberty, because how does one minor inconvenience make you feel like the world is ending? Like, genuinely, and you don't have any control over that. Shame. Anyway, so I heard Ethan's accent. Matter of fact, all of their accents in that movie, and I was like, I was mesmerized. Yo, teenage almost all over the place, I tell you. Goodness. I finished the movie, and someone found out that it was based on the book, and then I think my sister actually got those for me. She got me the ebook, and I really enjoyed the first book. I think I got to book 3 before I called it quits. I think the second book is like in a different realm. There's a lot of shit going on there. I was so confused, and then I stopped like a little bit in book 3. I can hardly remember the plot of this book. It was kind of a beautiful disaster. So let's talk about Beautiful Disaster. This is anything but beautiful. It is just a disaster. And I'm sorry I'm getting like agitated because I really just don't like this book. I reread it again a few years ago. I think that was the time when they announced that there was going to be a movie. God, I hate this book so much. I learned this year there's more than one book in the series. Like, what else is there to say? Bad boy, goody two shoes, make a bet, and then she has to stay with him for like a month, and he gets jealous when she's around other guys. He trashes his apartment because he's losing her mind. He trashes his apartment because he doesn't know where. What? He trashes his apartment and he loses his mind because he doesn't know where she is. You know what? This should have stayed in the 2000s. Another disaster that continued for 12 books. There's 12 books in total. And listen, at the end of it, she still couldn't decide who she wanted. And I feel like this book was trying too hard to be a wide choose, but couldn't commit to it because Zoe kept playing with these men. She couldn't commit to any of them. And the way that I had the biggest crush on the first vampire boyfriend, he was like so hot. He was with Aphrodite. I don't remember his name because he is irrelevant, and Aphrodite is literally that girl. And her vampire boyfriend was perfect until he wasn't. Understatement. I think she like cheated on him also. Like, I don't really know. Truthfully, I understand why there's like a little bit of a cult following on TikTok about this book. It's like trashy TV. Like I think I tapped out at like book 4 of 3. My notes say I tapped out at book 3. I tapped out at book 3. It's trashy and like watching bad reality TV. Yeah. Zoe is just like all powerful goddess bliss that can control all the 5 elements that apparently no one can control the 5th element, but she can't parallel park. And I mean, you know, she can't be perfect. She can't be perfect. I will say it is entertaining watching other people read this, and there is a YouTuber on here that I absolutely love watching. I can't even watch this in the background. I can't listen to her talk in the background. I need to see her face because her facial expressions are always just so funny. I'm gonna link her videos down below, but like this is, yeah, this series of books is really giving nothing, okay? Unlike the next one, in the name of this, she says The Giver. Sorry, I know that was horrible. I couldn't figure out how else to add this book into, yeah, okay. Also, another book that I don't know why I was reading, because obviously I didn't understand the message. Why was I reading these kind of books before 18? I don't know, but like I don't even think I understand the message now. Like, as you can't enjoy life without pain, and then something about individualism. Thank you, Google. But I feel like this is a book I purely enjoyed because it was a dystopia, much like the next one. I have no thoughts on this except for the fact that this is my second introduction. Ugh. Much like this one. No. Much like this one. I have no thoughts on this except that this was my second introduction to Dylan O'Brien. And I was like, you know what? I need more of that, but like in a different format. And then I was like, oh, this is based on a book. Let me go read it. I hope that you've noticed that most of the books on this is based on movies, because that is how I like kind of figured out what books I used to like, because no one else was really a reader. My sisters only read those books because the movie was coming out and they liked Mr. Grey. Ugh. I feel like my love for the fact that I wanted him in a different format is the reason why I will like a book in ebook and then I will want to go buy the physical copy. And which leads me to my next book. I really wish I owned the physical copy of this, and I wanted to gatekeep this so much, but I'm already gatekeeping like my all-time favorite book series, so I'm not gonna gatekeep this one. It's the Storybook of Legends. This is Ever After High. This novel is just, it's everything. It changed something in me. It changed my brain chemistry. I think this is one of those books that made me love fairy tales as much as I do right now. And based on a quick Google this was released after Ever After High, the cartoon, the animation, and that's based on a Google search. Google is free. Go and do that research for yourself. It wasn't the only thing that changed something in me. That is something that we will discuss later on. There's other books. This is really like one of those books that were like, you like fairy tales. And then I went on a search. I went on Goodreads. God help me. I went to go look for another book that could could give me the same feeling, the same vibe, and then I stumbled upon The School for Good and Evil. This one is different in that Ever After High, the children of the famous fairy tales, they live their lives like their parents. So it keeps repeating. So Snow White's daughter will live Snow White's life. But in this one, the children of the famous fairy tale heroes and villains, they go to a school and then they have to create their own stories. It's a very interesting concept. I really enjoyed the book series. I have yet to read book 4 and onwards, but I adored the book series. Another school academy is coming into their power vibe, and it was okay. My sister recommended me this one, and you know, it was okay. It was very long and boring, and I think I stopped like towards book 3. They did Dimitri so wrong. I mean, I don't know, I didn't read all of them. I asked my sister for a spoiler. I'm not gonna tell you the spoiler because I wouldn't do that. Although I do have another recommendation from my sister that I got during that time. She literally used to say Vampire Academy and Fallen. Ring Kate. And Vampire Academy is no, it's not my sister. She's by Rachel. Okay. Anyway, she said Vampire Academy and Fallen, and I was like, oh, okay. It's the only book series I think I've read about angels. I probably won't read another book series again like that. It's another book where the characters, well, the MC is like finding herself at school. The only difference is that this has got to do with angels and demons and like god. I will say that the ending of this was so obvious. And yet I cried like a baby. Ugh. Which isn't anything special. I am a crybaby. Okay. This is a recommendation of my sister that was actually good. Sorry, not sorry, my sister. Don't kill me. I love you. You know I'm a diehard dystopian fan. Evident by the list. This is an unknown. I feel like I don't see it a lot on TikTok. I don't see it on YouTube. I don't see people talking about this. I could be wrong, but it's Everless. I really enjoy the concept of time being used as a currency, like that one Justin Timberlake movie. That movie was good, and this is kind of similar. It scratched that itch of like I wanted the movie but in a book form. Then like I said, this is the one that I see a lot on social media, much like Three Dark Crowns. Reading this was like not reading at all, which I don't get that feeling nowadays anymore. I don't know, I think I should go back to reading some dystopian from the 2000s and 2010s. This world like sucked me in, and someone had to shake me to be like, oh, you know, you know that feeling. If you're on this video, if you come this far into this video, you must be a diehard like reader to watch my video all the way through, so you know what feeling I'm talking about. And this book changed my life. And you know, I thought I knew what was going on in this book, and it lulls you into like a false sense of something, reality. I don't know. Like, I'm just gonna read what I've written here. I thought I knew what was going on, but I was so very wrong every step of the way. Never underestimate these sisters. They are more than what they seem. I have another book that I don't see on the internet much, the Starcross series. I don't even know if this is exactly a dystopian, but it gives off those vibes. This book was like something else. It was like kind of like a fever dream. I can't really explain it. Also, there are 7 books. I read like the first 4. I'm not about to read the rest. I might reread it, but I'm not gonna read the fucking rest. Can't really explain why I liked it, much like the selection. I'm sorry. I know this book was giving nothing. This book was The Bachelor, but make it dystopian, but it was still giving nothing. I think the reason why I like this was because of Maxon, the man that he is. Side note, I think I just fell in love with a lot of the MMCs in these books. We're getting into the juicier ones. Now, I can't say that I liked these books just because of the men, because Head Queen, I love Mia. She is that girl. But why are there so many books? I've yet to finish it. The reason why this is on here, besides the fact that I love the book, is this was the first book betrayal I ever experienced. If you know, you know. I remember reading it and I was like, fuck. I don't know if I could get my hands on the second book or what, but it did something. This first book betrayal was just something else. And like, I know a lot of people think that this book betrayed them, but like, I was a stan from day one. I was his number one fan from day one. There isn't much I can say about this because I still love it to this day. Percy Jackson is another book that I still love to this day. This is an all-time favorite, and I know it is popular, much like the previous one. There isn't much to say about this book except for the fact that I think that it saved my life. And I know that sounds dramatic, but you don't know my life. You don't know what was going on during that time. And that statement stands. For all its flaws, Percy Jackson will always hold like a very, very special place in my heart. And this is also one of those books that just changed my brain chemistry forever. Which is why I put Percy Jackson first, to say that like Percy Jackson changed my brain chemistry. To follow with Looking for Alaska. Now, if you thought that a list that spanned from the 2000s to the 2010s was not going to include a John Green book, you are sorely mistaken. BFFR. Honestly, I think this was the first book that ever made me cry. I still remember the pain that shot through my chest reading this book. It's been over 10 years and I have yet to finish this book because of what happened. I didn't know John Green. I didn't know any of his work when I picked up this book, and I was very unfamiliar with his work. And I know it's kind of cheating putting this book on here because I didn't finish it, but like it had a big impact on me, being the first book that I cried about. I still have PTSD. I can't go back to this book. After reading this, I felt like I needed therapy, which is what I got. It's another book that just changed my brain chemistry. It just changed my brain chemistry in unexplained ways. I love it so much. And after reading all of the dystopian and fantasy like books, and after all of the dysfunctional romances, I just needed a book to ground me now. Granted, The Hurting was difficult. It was hard to read, okay, but I felt scene in some ways. The healing was healing to read, but again, I shouldn't have been reading these books at that young age. So yeah, these are the 25 books that raised me. In my defense, I was left unsupervised. Some of these books weren't appropriate to be read at that age, but it happened. There's nothing I can do about it. The damage has been done. And I hope you enjoy this book of me just being a total book nerd and like yapping about books, because I don't want to get too deep and say like, oh yeah, it changed my life and it saved my life, blah, blah, blah. But like it really did. Give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, do all those things. I really do appreciate the comments because I like the interaction. I don't get that over at TikTok, and I'm like, I'm an introvert. Don't let anyone tell you any different. I am an introvert. I am scared of socializing, but like over social media, it's not as bad. It's still kind of bad, but it isn't as bad. If you watched it all the way through, thank you so much. Comment the pineapple if you made it all the way through. Confuse the other people in the comments. Okay, until next time, where you will probably be watching a vlog of me. Like, it's crazy. This week is just crazy, so you're gonna see all of the craziness. So until next time, toodles.